is TJ Wilson, a.k.a. Tyson Kidd, and you're listening to Stu's Wrestling Podcast.
You're listening to Stu's Wrestling Podcast, established 2019. Direct from the North Wales coast, his verbal skills definitely outweigh his wrestling ability. It's time for British Wrestling's sharpshooter, your host, Stu Palmer.
We've got a returning guest who's not been on the show since December 2024, and it is his 8th appearance on Stu's Wrestling Podcast. It is none other than Jacques Rougeau, aka the Mountie. And as I always say, I hated you when I was a kid. I hated the Mountie. I hated him.
That's okay, Stewie. I love you.
It was a pleasure meeting you last year in person in Manchester. It truly was.
Yes. Having a bite to eat, that was fun too, wasn't it?
It was so good, mate. It was so good. Honestly, 45 minutes with the Mountie. It was amazing. I'm not talking about wrestling, actually, talking about life and other things, because there's more pressing matters at hand. There's life matters, isn't there?
It was really fun. I enjoyed it. I was happy when you came to see me for the love of wrestling, and it was a great event. And actually met some tremendous people. Sarah Page, which was China Syndrome. I met her. That was amazing to meet her. She's coming to our Comic-Con in May in Quebec, Canada. And so that was amazing. And yeah, I always love to go back to the UK. My heart, part of my heart is in the UK, from Royal Albert Hall to the Underground in London, to Wembley, to all these great places that I did. It was I always had a big piece of my heart.
We loved it when you guys came over in the 90s, and actually 89 was the first show when you came to the London Arena. That was the first ever one. So you guys were in the UK for such a sustained period, and yeah, it was the best time. That was the best time. I say it to you every time you come on. Forget the Attitude Era. That was the best. That was the best time. And I get shot down for that by a lot of my friends. They love the Attitude Era, but the time you guys were doing it was the best. It was the best shot.
It was good. So what do I owe the honor of you wanting me to come back on the podcast again after the 4th time? I can't remember how many times I've been on.
Eight times.
Oh my God! You must really not have any friends.
Hey, I've got loads of friends, but me and you've become friends, which is the craziest thing of all. It's absolutely mental, absolutely mental. That's been the beauty of this. But yes, I'd like to ask about last weekend, 80s Wrestling Con. Tommy Fierro's big show up there. It looked like you had a fantastic time. Met people. Bronwyn Billington, Dynamite's daughter. You've met her.
I'll tell you something. That was one of the shocks of my life. I don't remember. I don't remember how many years it's been since I've been shocked like that. So when you're doing these Comic-Cons, you're always looking at the people that go by in front of you, and it's always nice to see people that are easy on the eyes, and you see them go by, and next thing you know, so that the 2 tables away, there's this woman that's there, and so I take a look over there, and at the same time I'm taking a look over there, she looks at me and she goes like, can we take a picture? I said, sure, come on, take a picture. So she comes and she takes a picture with me, and when she takes the picture with me, then right after that she notices that I'm just looking at her like I'm looking at a fan, nice, polite, but that's it. And then so she looks at me and then she says, do you know who I am? I said, oh, that's my line. I said, that's great. I said, she's a Mountie fan. Do you know who I am? I like that, And she says, I'm Tom Billington, the Dynamite Kid's daughter. When she said that, I swear I fell into a trance. It was like, I didn't know how to feel. I had so many mixed emotions and mixed feelings caught up together. Embarrassment, sadness. There was so many emotions caught up and lost, lost of words. What do I tell this young lady? You know, there's not much I could tell that's going to make her feel good about her dad. You know, and so after we got over like 5 minutes of me hiding my face and not knowing what to do, she came up close to me and she says, "Don't worry, Jacques, it's okay. I forgive you." And then I looked at her and I said to myself, I didn't speak at all for another minute because it was kind of controversy. I'm saying to myself in my brain, "You're forgiving me for what? For being victim, like, you know, for being bullied, for being beat up, for being or for knocking his teeth out, like, you know." But it's like, so we talked for about 20 minutes, and after 20 minutes of talking, she finally, you know, it's funny because then I started to have empathy towards her, like, you know, sympathy towards her. We connected really good. And then it's like she even asked me, she says, I'd like to have you on my podcast. She told me that. And then I told her, I took a few seconds to think about it. And then I said, how can I go on Dynamite Kid's daughter's podcast? Like, you know, I've been killing him for 30 years, you know, around the world. You know, it's like, so it's like, how do I do that? And then I said, and then I looked straight in the eyes to her and I said, listen, I said, I'll do it at one condition, that you let me tell the truth. And then she looked at me and she says, yeah, for sure. I said, okay, great. I said, so I'll do it. So I'm supposed to do her podcast next week coming up. So that should be very, very interesting. Very interesting.
She's actually coming to Manchester next week for the Love of Wrestling. She's over for it. I think they've got some of Dynamite's attire and different things that they're going to display, as far as I know.
No. Wow.
So I will get to see her.
And the funniest thing, yeah, well, please go see her.
I will.
And tell her that I'm doing her podcast. But I was going to say something. Oh yeah. So just before she left, after a conversation, we really connected so much that she because I told her, I said, hey, I'm going to talk also about how great your dad was in the ring. You know, when Raymond and I came to the WWF, Dynamite and Davey Boy were our heroes. They were out of this world. It was like the British Bulldogs were the hottest, biggest thing that we'd ever seen. That was the best team that I'd ever seen. You know, and as far as creating an impact and being over in New York. And I said, your father was awesome. He was a great wrestler. But there was something else that I told her too. Oh yeah. So then she asked me. She says, well, so she went ahead and asked me. She said, well, I'm actually doing a Hall of Fame thing for my dad. I'm trying to get a Hall of Fame going for my dad. Would you mind signing? And I said, for sure I'll sign, because take away the part of the man he was outside the ring, the man inside the ring, I'll sign that petition right away.
He was incredible. You know, he had his demons, of course, we all know that, but in ring, he was ahead of his time. Look how many guys, you know, even now were inspired to get in and wrestle because of Dynamite Kid. So, yeah, what happened to you was terrible, but you had to stick up for yourself as well. But, yeah, as you say, as a talent, unparalleled what he was able to do.
He just showed the whole world that you could be small and you could make it to the top. He was powerful. He was extraordinary. He was a great worker. We had a match in Madison Square Gardens, a 20-minute Broadway match, no winners, at SummerSlam. And what an incredible experience it was. And I remember sitting at the table with Pat and Vince, and when they brought us in the room, all four of us, and they said, and Vince looked at us, he says, okay, guys, he says, I'd like to have a match with all four of you. He says, I'd like to have a 20-minute time limit. And I looked at Raymond from the corner of my eyes, and I went like, yes, like, you know, they're not going to beat us. This team is so good, and they're not going to beat us. That's good for us. But I could imagine how he felt. He was probably saying, what the hell, mate? You know, like, these two jabronis from Quebec, how come we're not beating them? Like, you know, so we were very flattered that we went into SummerSlam, 20-minute match, no time limit, no winner. And what a match we had. If you have a chance to go see that match on SummerSlam, so it must be on the videos or somewhere you could catch it. The British Bulldog against the fabulous Rougeau brothers, and what a match we had.
on Netflix across the world now. Even in America, it's all transferred over, so you can get all the old pay-per-views. They're there, man. It's incredible, and I love that match, as I've said to you before. Just full circle meeting Bronwyn, mate. Full circle.
Funny how life brings you things that you don't expect, and then it's so funny because here's another thing that happened that's so funny, Stewie. I'm part of a promotion now, GPW, and I'm part owner now of this company, and so we're organizing a big Comic Con and a wrestling show on the 30th of May in Gatineau, Quebec, Canada, and so in the last year, I kind of put on some weight. Like I put on 25, 30 pounds of weight. I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't eating very well. 65 years old. You don't have the same incentive when you're 25. And so I had to find something to give me incentive. So I told my partners 6 months ago, I said, hey, there's a Royal Rumble that night on the 30th of May. I'm going to join in that Royal Rumble. And I was like 268, almost 270. And so now I'm 245. But I mean, I'm doing 30 minutes of cardio, extreme cardio every day. I'm working out every day. Hey, I'm telling you, I'm in great shape, great shape. But I needed some incentive. But the funniest thing, Stewie, is that was 6 months ago. I decided to do that. And about 2 months ago, my 4 other partners in the company, they went behind my back and they signed Harry Smith to join the Royal Rumble. And I didn't mind because Harry Smith, I took a picture with him when he was 4 or 5 years old. And he was in my arms. I was the Mountie. I was wrestling his dad, who had came back 2 years after the incident. So we had became friends, me and his father, Davy Boy. So there was no more tension there, not at all. So when they said that, I thought it was funny. I said, well, that's funny. You talk about something, a return match like the Rougeau and the Bulldog. And, that's funny, except with the son. And but next thing you know, Stewie, is I get this video from a guy who's doing a what's up?
I've got said video which will roll into this.
So are you going to be able to show this video?
Not now this minute. I'm going to have to edit it in because we're on Zoom. But I have got the video, of course. But you need to explain.
Great.
You need to explain about what he's.
People know what I'm talking about. Harry Smith sends a video. Well, hello to all my fans in Gatineau, Quebec, Canada. I'm pleased to join the Royal Rumble, and I'm the son of the British Bulldog. I'm the Japan champion, and this and that, describing himself. I thought it was great. His career, his curriculum is so amazing, And then he finishes by saying, but I'm much more happier to be in the ring with Jacques Rougeau. And then he's got this serious look on his face. So I'm saying to myself, my partners in my company, they're smart, because they want to try sell tickets, and what a great way to sell tickets, but the thing is about a month ago, 3 weeks ago, he went on to a podcast with Donnie De Silva and Jimmy Cordora, who used to be a referee in the WWF in our days. He was there the night that I had the fight with Dynamite, and so he did an interview with them. And then, so Jimmy teased him because he had seen the interview. So he teased him, says, hey, what's this thing? Why are you just teasing Jacques like this? He says, listen, he says, I'm not mad at Jacques. But he says, the thing is, he says, what upsets me, he says, for the last 30 years, he says, I've been going in dressing rooms around the world. And you know how the boys are, they like to instigate. So a lot of the boys would come up and tell him, say, hey, did you hear what Jacques Rougeau say about your dad? And I never spoke bad about his dad, but I always referred to the Bulldogs because that's how they were known, the British Bulldogs. But I was always talking about Tom Billington, Dynamite Kid. But the boys would take it and they turn around and they'd say, hey, Jacques he made you look really bad on the podcast, your dad, really bad, really bad. And he says, for 30 years, I've been hearing Jacques degrade and take my notoriety of the British Bulldogs away. And he says, I don't think my dad would appreciate that, because my dad shook Jacques' hand when he came back in the dressing room when he was the Mountie, and he said, let's bygones be bygones. And Jacques acted like he was a friend of my dad. But why for 30 years has he been knocking my dad? And so I called Diana, which is his mother. I called Diana because I don't want to mess with Harry Smith. He's about 265 pounds. He's at the prime of his career. I want to go and have a good time in the battle royal, you know. And so I talked to Diana. I said, Diana, I said, I just saw an interview with Harry, and I think he's misunderstanding the context. Like when I was referring to, if I would have said, hey, I had this thing with the Dynamite Kid. Not everybody knows Dynamite Kid, but everybody knows the British Bulldogs. You know, it's like the British Bulldogs was the established, maybe the good wrestling fan knows the Dynamite Kid, but the people that don't follow wrestling or just follow the story of my bullying and all that stuff that would happen, they know it's the British Bulldogs. So I always refer to them as the British Bulldogs. So I told Diana, I said, Diana, you need to talk to Harry. I said, because he's starting to put some rumors out there that he wants to maybe give me a receipt in the Royal Rumble or have some fun with me in the Royal Rumble more than is expected. And to be honest with you, Diana, I don't appreciate it. Like, you know, it's not something that I'm having fun with. This was a delicate situation in my life. It's something that I took very personally, that stayed with me for many years. For 25 years, I gave conferences in schools against bullying because I was traumatized by that incident. And I said, I wouldn't want the boys to go to him and say, because I don't all have friends in this business, I have enemies. And I wouldn't want the enemies, the jealous people, the haters, to come up to Harry and just say, hey, because you got to remember one thing, when you go in the ring, you give your body to your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
You give your body.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't want to give my body to somebody that I'm unsure of.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I explained that to Diana. She says, don't worry, Jacques, I'll talk to Harry. Don't worry. That was a month ago, and I never got a response back from either Diana or Harry. so it's like, you know, it's like, I'm not worried. I'll take care of myself. I've never been intimidated by bullying. I'm always going to, you know, when it comes down to it, when I'm in the corner, I'm like a little rat. You put a little rat in the corner, I'm going to fight back no matter how big you are. But it's not something at the age of 65 that I planned on. It's not something that I was anticipating or looking forward to. I'm looking forward to go and get, you know, in the Royal Rumble on May 30th and have fun, just to go out there and salute my fans. And like I said, I did this project because I wanted incentive to get in shape, and I did. I lost 25 pounds in about 2 months, 2.5 months, and I'm on a roll right now. I may lose another 5 pounds.
I've been loving when you've been putting the weight on, when you've been obviously listing it on Facebook, when you've been dropping. I've been like, yes, because I'd obviously get it afternoon my time. I was like, Jacques, he's lost some more. He's lost some more.
Yeah, and I feed off of that. I feed off my fans. I always did. I always feed off the feedback of my fans. You know, I always, you know, my sons always criticized me about that. My 3 sons always said, why do you always go on Facebook and say everything about your life? I said, well, it's part of my life. It's like, I like to be followed. I like to be encouraged. I like to be having a pat on the back and say, go, Jacques, go. You know, it's nice. It's fun, but my kids don't understand that, you know, but I'm like that. And I appreciate you saying that you've been following like this. It's fun for me because now I'm at 245.6 this morning, and I'm going to probably go down to 240. So I will have left 278.8, which is almost 270, and I'm going to go down to 240. So I will have lost 30 pounds for this match. But
what were you?
But anyway,
what were you at peak in WWE? What was your weight? What was your weight when you were in WWE?
I was hanging around. I was hanging around 245.
Yeah,
where I'm at right now. 245 Perfect. Was my weight.
Sorry,
I felt good. I felt good like that. 245 is a good weight for me. I don't want to go down too low, because then, you know, your cheeks start popping in. You're weak. You know, you don't have endurance. Now I'm at a weight that I'm happy because I'm 3-4 months before the event. Let's see, February, March, April, May. I'm 4 months before the event, and I only got 5 pounds to lose. So I did all the hard work. Now I lost 25 pounds. And the next 5 pounds, I'm going to lose like over 4 months. So it's not going to be something that's going to be drastic to my body. It's not going to drain me. It's going to be just cut a little something here, cut a little something there. But now I'm back to, because when I lost the 25 pounds, I was only eating like 1,500 calories a day. My body was suffering. But now I'm back up to eating 2,000 calories, 2,200, but good food. And so now I'm going to be able to stay at that, like at 2,000 calories, 1,900, and lose my 0.2 pounds a week, 0.2 pounds, just 0.2 pounds, and go down slowly till I hit the 240. But if I get in the ring at 240, let me tell you something, Stu. I'm a monster. I'm a monster because you know what? I'm in shape. I'm doing this cardio now that is so extreme. I'm doing 30 minutes of cardio, and at 29 minutes, I sprint. Like from 29 to 30 after 29 minutes. I swear I get on the cardio machine, the elliptic, at 12 minutes approximately 12 minutes done out of 30, I start dripping. And then I start dripping. 15 minutes, I'm dripping all over. For 15 minutes, I'm dripping like a water fountain. And then at 29 minutes, I give a sprint. You know, so I'm figuring this battle royal is going to last 30 minutes. That's why I'm doing the 30-minute cardio, because the Royal Rumble is going to last 30 minutes. But that doesn't mean I'm going to be out first. I may be out number 10 out of 18, like, you know, so I figure I'm going to have to put about 20 minutes in there of rough endurance and facing everybody, turning around, moving. So if I get in shape for 30 minutes and I only have 20 minutes to perform, I'll be in great shape to do the Royal Rumble.
Well done, man. Honestly, and like you're so on course with it now, leading up to it. Like the show's not till May, so you're well on course, aren't you? It's fantastic. It's fantastic. And don't be scared of Harry. Don't be scared of Harry. If you've got to go toe to toe in the ring, I know you'll.
My confidence will build. It's just that I'm seeing a lot of people sending me a lot of things of him now. Like, you know, a lot of people are sending me messenger stuff like his training and his jiu-jitsu training and this and that. And it's like, you know, and whether you like it or not, you got to respect the man. He's a monster. You know, the man is, and he's in his prime right now. And I know that 65 is only a number, but 65 is 65. I am 65. So, you know, so I got to be logic. I got to be brilliant, intelligent. I got to be smart about it. But I'm going to be ready. And you know what? I'm going to be prepared. I'm going to be prepared for what we call Plan B. You know, if Plan A doesn't go as scheduled, then I'll be ready for Plan B, because I'm just that type of guy. And I've lived off my dynasty, the dynasty of the Rougeau family, my legacy, and I'm not gonna let all that go down to the drain just because of something that a misunderstanding. Because, you know, he thought I was talking about his dad, which I wasn't. You know, I think he's a smart man. I think he's a mature man. I think that his mom's going to talk to him and say, hey, listen, Jacques is Jacques, but Jacques liked your dad and he liked you. So just go out there and do your job. But I'm just hoping that there's not some of the wrestlers, like I said, that are going to go and try to tell him well, you know, because it happens in the ring when let's face the truth, is when you go in the ring, sometimes what we call potato a guy. Like, you know, you give him a shot that's much harder than it's supposed to, but it's an accident. And some of the guys that are not honest persons and not honest people, they will do something hard to you, and then they will say, oh, I'm sorry, but they don't mean it. It's like, and then if somebody says they're sorry, you have to accept it, because it could have happened to anybody. So you got to be, I'm going to have to size everything out to see if anything happens that hurts me really bad. And he says he's sorry. I'm going to have to see if he means it, or if it's really an incident or not. And if it's not, I'm going to be ready. I'm going to play the game too. I'm going to answer him, hey, no problem. And then I will give him a receipt. Like, you know, it's going to go like that. And once I gave him the receipt, if I need to do that, I'll be on my guards. You know, the same way I was when Davey Boy came back in Philadelphia, when I was the Mountie. And the first night he came back 2 years later, and I had to face the Bulldog again. I saw him, the card, he was there. He was coming in the Spectrum in Philadelphia. All the boys were there, and they were just waiting for Davey Boy to arrive. I was sitting in the seat. It was the first encounter since the altercation. And when he walked in, he came right up to me when he came in. He says, Jacques, he says, can I go in the shower and speak with you for a minute? And he didn't take a second. I looked at him. I was scared. I was really scared. But I looked at him and I said, no problem. Because I didn't want to show him I was scared. And then I followed him into the bathroom, but at distance. And then when he opened the door, I said, go on, you go first. So he walked in first to showers because, I didn't want to get a sucker punch or whatever, to jump me. So I kept my distance with him. And by the time he got in, turned around, he already had his hand out like this. And he says, I want us to be friends. What you did to Dynamite, he deserved it. He says, I don't want to have any more problem. I want us to work together. I want us to be able to have good matches together. I said, great, me too. Shook his hand, and then we were friends from then on. So Harry's going to have to remember that part. And he's going to have to take my word that when I talked about the British Bulldogs, it was Dynamite Kid.
Yeah, absolutely. And we look forward to that match. I can't wait. I can't wait to see that match. Another match on the card is two of your Loot Academy winners, Clutch Jesse V versus two-time winner of the tournament, Jeremy Prophet. Wow. The two champions of Loot Academy clashing. Coming together.
And you know what? It's two of the best talents in Canada that came from when we had Wrestling Academy, talents were coming from all over Canada. And they're both winners. And Jeremy Prophet, a double winner. And Vince Farrago, Jesse V, he won and man, he's a high flyer, 300-pound guy, 280, and he's flying over the top rope doing those dives, but he's great. He's got great power maneuvers. He's so exciting for his size. He's amazing. I don't understand why he's not signed in the big league yet. I don't understand. I work with him. I don't know where the problem is. But long story short is when these two guys meet in the ring, the two winners, they're gonna, especially in front of 4,000 and 5,000 people in Gatineau, they're gonna want to leave their mark. And so they're gonna go all out. This is gonna be an amazing match, and I can't wait to see. And I know that both guys are gonna respect each other because they're both guys that I helped in the business, and they're guys that I work with in the business. And I taught them the backstage of the business and the ins and outs, the less is more, the promos. I went in deep with these guys. Like, I helped them a lot, and that's how they won Wrestling Academy. I helped them quite a bit, but like I helped everybody else, but they just understood it and they grabbed it and they took it. So now it's going to be one against each other, and can't wait to see we flip the coin, but it's gonna be awesome to see that match. Forget who wins and who loses. It's the performance they're gonna give, the moves that are gonna be so amazing. And, I can't forget. And there's Giant Orion's gonna be there too. He was another winner last year of Wrestling Academy. Zandra Lee's gonna be there. There's so many winners of Wrestling Academy, talent from Wrestling Academy that's gonna be on that show. So anybody who gets this podcast or sees this podcast, you could go on Legends Mania .ca. C'est quoi le site donc? Legendsmania.ca for tickets. C'est quoi? GPW. So it's GPW Legendsmania.ca. So you can get for the meet and greet in the afternoon. It's going to be absolutely amazing because the meet and greet, man, that's for me. I booked that for me. I didn't book that for the fans. Coco Beware, Lex Luger, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Jake the Snake, Greg the Hammer Valentine. You're talking about Jerry Lawler. You're talking about the Headbangers. You're talking about Sarah Page, like I said, who I met for the love of wrestling.
Absolutely.
And Diana's going to be there. I'm so happy with Georgia. Harry Smith's going to be there. But that's okay. It's going to be amazing for the fans to meet all those people. Sean Mooney's going to be there.
Oh, my days.
He's one of my favorites, Sean Mooney. I love him to death. He used to take care of us in the 80s. We used to do promos with him. And he was such a great guy to work with. So anyway, all this to say that I booked this convention in the afternoon for me, not for the fans. Now I'm going to go back with all my friends and relive the people that I spend 25 days a month with. And what's fun about this event in the afternoon is that the people that are going to go there, they're going to go back in time. They're going to go back in time where 30 years ago when they used to be sitting in the living room with their dad and they used to watch these matches on TV with their dad, and they're going to remember those times by seeing those guys. And one thing that I made really special that I'm so proud of is behind every guy that's going to be sitting at the Comic-Con, we're going to have a big 4x8 feet picture of them in their prime. Like, so if you go to see Coco Beware, there's going to be a big picture with him and the bird in the back to have, to bring back the people into the time that they were there. Jake with his snake, Hacksaw with his 2x4. Everybody's going to be there. It's going to be an amazing event that afternoon and the show that night, of course.
So you can't throw all these names at me. They were the names that I grew up on. I'm stuck here. I'm in the UK. I need to get my backside to Quebec, don't I? I need to come.
You need to buy yourself a plane ticket, and you can get a ticket for like $800-900 if you buy it in advance, and I'll keep you at my house. So you need to come and live this. This will be memorable for you. It really will be.
You'd be kicking me out after one night. You'd be like, no, I can't be doing with this.
That's okay. That's okay. Your family would want you back. Your little boy would want you back.
I don't know. They might say stay. They might give me that scenario. But it's incredible. And the video, Sean Mooney doing the GPW Event Centre, it was like the old days, mate. I used to love it when he did the UK Event Centre on Superstars.
I hope, Stu, you could show that video on this, on this podcast.
Put it
at the bottom, Sean. It's so amazing, that video. It really is, and it's an amazing time for me. And it's funny. I'm 65 years old. Like I said, I'm going to be 66 on June 13th. Like 13 days after this event, I'll be going 66. But you're not going to be able to say it. Just the only place you'll be able to tell it is I have no more hair. But apart from that, when you look at my shape, my performance in my body, and you know what, I'm going in that ring not to go. I don't want to go do a bushwhacker appearance. Yay! Well, that's not what I want to go do. I want to go in there and I want to kill it. I want to go in there and I want to drop kick. I want to power bomb. I want to do everything. I want to just go out there and all out. And the people are going to be, their jaw's going to drop to say, how can this 66-year-old man do all this stuff? And that's probably because of the good life I had, and no drinking and no drugs and all that. And by the way, I want to take 2 seconds to congratulate you for your mental your mental education that you do with the mental people. I follow it once in a while and I say to myself, wow, what a great thing you're doing, Stewie. To sensibiliser les gens, like to how do I say that, to make the people learn about it. Like, I don't know how to say it in English, but you're teaching the people, you keep making them aware and of mental illness, and that's amazing what you're doing there, Stewie. Congratulations.
I've had a tough 6 months. I did speak to you privately about this. I've had a tough. It's been tough, mate. It's been tough. I'm all right now, but it's again, I just impart what I've been through. But everybody's mental health is different. But it's helping. It's helped a lot of people as well, Jacques. Those posts have helped people, and that's the key. That's the key thing,
The thing is, I think that people must realize is, in any case, whatever it is, whether it's alcohol, whether it's drug abuse, whether it's mental situations, you're not alone. You're not alone. And, everybody has issues. Everybody has skeletons in their cupboard. Everybody. There's nobody, even the richest people, the toughest people, the most popular people, don't believe me, they got their worries and their problems. And so when you see someone open up like you do, sometimes like I do, then I think people like to relate to that and they feel empathetic towards it, and they appreciate us for it.
Take any our connection with wrestling out of it. At the end of the day, mental health is a broader topic. So it gets more, there's more eyes on it. There's just more eyes on it because so many people are struggling. And yeah.
And I'll tell you, Stewie, this world is getting crazier and crazier.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Hey, Trump.
I'm telling you, Stewie.
Trump carries on doing what he's doing. There's going to be something very, very bad. Very bad.
Let's not get into that.
No. I don't pertain to be a political analyst or anything like that. It does my head in, but I can see what's coming. But that's a separate story for a separate day.
But I'm just talking. I'm not only talking about politics. I'm talking about society in general. I'm talking about the internet. I'm talking about people not looking at each other in the eyes when they cross each other anymore. They're looking in their phones. The people are bumping into each other because they're not even looking in front of them. There's no more human contact? It's getting more computerized. It's getting bad. And I remember my youth. It was completely different. I know I'm going far fetched here. I'm going off the subject, but I was getting up at 7 a.m. when I was a young age, and I was on my bike, ready to go see my friends, and my mom would say, hey, it's a little too early. Don't go out and wake up anybody yet. It's too early, 7 in the morning. And then I'd come back like 11 o'clock at night. I'd be gone all day to go play hockey at some places, go do this there, go do this there. And then I'd come back 11 at night, and my mom would say, hey, you're late. Where were you? And I said, well, we were having so much fun playing hide and go seek or playing soccer or this or that. And I was never at home. I was never in the house. I was never in front of a screen, you know, but I was living a life that was healthy. Today, people are sitting on couches, sitting on chairs. Kids are not moving. And the most of the kids and the smart parents, they get their kids out there. They're going against some of the parents are trying to make this come back, but society is not going that way.
With Brody, my eldest, he's doing rugby, and he's doing his swimming at the moment. And Karis will have him doing. He'll be doing karate and everything. He'd be throwing me. He gets any bigger, he'd be throwing me around too. He's just getting bigger and bigger. That boy. They reckon he's going to be 6'4" like my dad. When they do the percentiles, he's going to be a big boy. But I tell you, we are trying to just go into what you're saying. We're trying to get him into different sporting things, and interacting with kids is crucial. Interaction is crucial, as you're saying.
Interaction and keep them active. Yeah. Keep them active. You know what? The physical training, physical activities is a good part of mental health.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
All right, folks, we'll be back with in-ring action. But now let's go to GPW Event Center with Sean Mooney.
Hello, everyone. It's Sean Mooney, and I am back in the Event Center for a big reason to tell you about a tremendous wrestling event you do not want to miss, coming to Gatineau, Quebec, Canada on Saturday, May 30th. Now, that day, you will meet some of the greatest superstars ever at Legends Mania as we take you back in time. Those legends include Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Jake the Snake Roberts, the Total Package Lex Luger, the Birdman Coco Beware, Jacqueline, the Headbangers, Greg the Hammer Valentine, Sarah Page, the China Syndrome, Jerry the King Lawler, Jacques and Raymond of the fabulous Rougeau brothers, Rhino, as well as the son of the British Bulldog Harry and his sister Georgia, along with none other than their mother, Diana Smith. And I will be there too. I wouldn't miss it. Then, that evening, a wrestling extravaganza including a Royal Rumble where Jacques Rougeau and Harry Smith will collide with 18 other wrestlers in the same ring. It is going to be an amazing event for the entire family. Gatineau, Quebec, Canada, May 30th. You do not want to miss it. So get your tickets now at JacquesRougeau.com or GPWLegendsMania.ca or on the Slush Puppy Center website. Don't miss your chance to be a part of this spectacular event. I'll see you there.